guys, welcome to another video. Thanks for joining today. Today I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to talk about 4 pairs of shoes that I've decided to retire right about now. Give you a little bit about how I used the shoes, how they worked out, and why I'm retiring them. The first shoe I have one of the original Atreyu base models. These have been very good shoes. They come with they have a 6mm drop. I think they said it's 25.5mm stack height in the heel and like 19.5 or something like that in the forefoot. This is the original base model. When they first came out, they were selling these on subscription for $55 per pair. You were totally running on EVA foam, and they were thought to not have super long longevity, but the idea was they were cheap enough you were able to replace them real often. I was on the subscription for a while, and I acquired a few pairs of these, and this is my last pair of them. After that, they came out with the version 2 of the base model that included a supercritical foam. I've owned a pair of those and running them. I will say they were probably slightly more bouncy, but you were still running on the EVA. They still wore out fairly quickly, but they were very good feeling shoes as well. But there was no reason for me not to use these. The mileage estimate most people gave on the Atreyu base model was around 200 miles. This pair I've got about 240 miles on. There is a lot of wear on the outside midsole, and I've just decided it's time to retire them, but they have been good shoes. Atreyu now makes a Bailey Trainer, which now has some rubber on the outsole, so that'll probably have a lot better durability and last longer. I have also run in the Artist, which has been their carbon fiber plated shoe, and I've really enjoyed those. I'm actually on my second pair. I got a real good deal on the second pair, so I've actually owned those. The second shoe I'm retiring right now are my Ultra Temp 4s. This is one that I would say is a bit premature as far as mileage wise. These should probably last a lot longer than they did for me. I got about 250 miles on them, but I am going to retire them. I found them because the lugs weren't real aggressive, and they had a 28mm Ego Max, 29mm Ego Max stack height midsole, that they felt great for road to trail. So I did some races where there was a good bit of road and some trail, and they felt great for that. Very cushy. I still had some grip, but the reason I'm retiring these is I have pretty well worn out the lugs. They are destroyed, and I've also had a couple issues the last 2 times I've done long runs, really long runs in them. I used them at Jackalope Jam, where I did 111 miles total. I did about 70. Sorry about all this noise from the wind and the wind chimes back here, but anyway, I ran like 72 miles of that race in these. I didn't really feel it till toward the end, but my right big toe started getting real sore, and later I realized I developed a huge blister under it. I wasn't sure it was these shoes, but these were the shoes I ran in the majority of. I ended up losing my toenail. It was kind of gross. As best I can tell, these are pretty stout up here to protect from being torn, but it also doesn't allow it to flex a lot, and I moved my right big toe quite a bit. So even though these have a standard fit, Ultra Fit, which usually is wide enough for me, the fact that toe is pretty stiff, I think, caused me a little bit of problems on really long runs. I wasn't sure that was the deal, so then I ran with these also at the Texas Endurance runs a week or so ago. I did just over 50K. I did them all in these shoes, but when I finished that run as well, I had a blister under that same big toe. I'm hoping I won't lose my nail because I didn't go as many miles on it and it isn't as bad. But anyway, so I've just decided, because of the outsole wear and because I've had a few issues now with my getting the blister under my big toe and my right foot that I'm going to go ahead and retire these shoes. I've got lots of other trail options right now, and I haven't been running that trails that much anyway, so I may definitely consider the Altra Temp 5s when they come out next, was it January or February, because they will still have the big stack height, and they're going to add a Vibram outsole as I understand it, which definitely attracts me to them because it would take a lot longer to wear down the outsole. The third shoe I am planning to retire is my Altra Torin 6s. I have absolutely loved these shoes. I have over 400 miles in them. I found them, they have a 28 millimeter Ego Max outsole. I find this engineered mesh upper extremely comfortable. I always called these my slipper feel shoes. I used them a lot for recovery days and long runs. You could use them a little bit more for up-tempo because they're not super heavy. They're like 9.9 ounces in a men's size 9. Got a little over 10 ounces with my men's size 11.5. I will say that the foam started kind of deadening out around in the 300 mile range, somewhere in there, but they still felt pretty good, and they actually still feel pretty good to wear around now. I've been, after they got over 300, just because I've got so many shoes to choose from right now, I started using them more for just wearing around. I wore them a lot to the running store where I was standing on concrete all day long, and they worked great for that. So, but now I've got the Altra Torin 7s, so I'm going to go ahead and retire these with a bit over 400 miles. But was very happy with these shoes. The last pair I'm going to pretty much be retiring now are my Altra Escalante 3s. These have 24 millimeters of Ego foam, which I found fairly bouncy. Not a big stack height, so not super cushioned, but these worked great for daily runs. What I really have loved them for, and I've worn them also since, again, I think around 300 miles, the foam started deadening out a little bit, flattening out, but they continue to be very comfortable to wear around. I've been using them as a casual shoe. Again, I'm over 400 miles in these as well. These I'm going to retire from running and probably even wearing around a whole lot. I'm not really quite sure I'm ready to throw them out though, because they are so good being lower to the ground and still having some cush that I love using them for gym workouts. So I may continue doing that for a little while, but for the most part I am retiring my Altra Escalante 3s. I very well might buy the 4s when they come out. I might even buy a pair of 3s again before that happens. But anyway, so that just to give you an idea of the shoes that I'm retiring and how long they lasted. So the Treyus lasted probably about what you would have expected back when they came out. Both the Escalante 3s and the Torin 6s I think did a good job lasting me over 400 miles. And the Temp 4s, I don't really know what the problem is with my toe getting a blister under it, and I also don't, the other reason it wore out was me wearing out because I worked so much on the road, which is really not what you would want to do with the trail shoe. But anyway, hope you found it interesting. If you liked the video, please consider hitting the thumbs up, the like button. If you're interested in any more about content, please consider subscribing to my channel. And other than that, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Keep moving.